Hello, and welcome to another edition of Coffee Talk with immigration attorney Brian D. Lerner. Glad you could be here. In this particular episode, I'd like to talk a little bit about one of the areas of immigration reform which President Obama issued in his executive action. I have several other videos and documents and so forth on different other parts, but this particular one deals with his wanting to modernize and streamline the U.S. immigrant visa system for the 21st century. First, let me just give you an idea of the problems. There's only, and let's just talk about family-based immigration for a minute. There's only so much visas or so many visas per category, and there's different categories. For example, married son or daughter of a U.S. citizen, a child of a lawful permanent resident, spouse and sibling of a citizen, and so forth. And depending on the preference, it takes for the visa number to become current. So, for example, let's say that you're from the Philippines and your U.S. citizen brother petitioned you tomorrow, and let's just say it was approved 3 days from now. Well, that doesn't mean 4 days from now you can hop on a plane and come to the U.S. That means you're going to have to wait about 22 to 25 years in order for the visa number to become current. So it takes a while. Now, not all of them are that long, obviously, but the employment-based systems, likewise, are depending on which category and what country you're from, are backlogged as well. For example, and so forth, from an employer, even have a master's degree, and if you're from India, you're going to be waiting several years. And then let's talk about nurses. There's a guaranteed shortage of nurses in the U.S. as per the Department of Labor. They don't have to even do the perm as most other employment-based petitions do. Yet, again, pretend that today you filed the nurse petition and tomorrow it's approved. You're still going to wait several years in order to be able to come in. There's various kinds of other kinds of employment-based visas that likewise take a very long time to process and so forth. And so it's not just the time, it's also the complexity that's involved in order to get many of these employment petitions through, the national interest waiver, EB-5, so forth. I mean, if you happen to be from China and you're doing an EB-5, you're on a waiting list, and that's if you have $1 million. I mean, can you imagine our system where you invest $1 million and yet the country says, sorry, we can't take you right now, we're backlogged? So the President Obama actually put out a memo on this matter, directed it to the heads of various agencies, and gave these agencies basically 120 days from the issuance of the memo, which would have been November 20th, 2014. So December, January, February, March. So we're looking at around March 20th for this to be done, and that's not that far away. It's only a few more months. But the memo itself first started by reciting essentially saying, the majority of PhDs in math, computer science, and engineering are essentially, the majority are represented by immigrants. They come from elsewhere than the U.S. That of all the Nobel laureates inside the United States, 1/4 of them outside the United States. That basically the Fortune 500 companies, 40% of small businesses and high-tech startups, and 40% of Fortune 500 basically were founded by an immigrant or their children, and 1 out of every 4 small businesses in America or high-tech startups are from immigrants. So just these facts alone will show you that there is a high contribution of employment-based startups and brain power that come from outside the United States. That, of course, is not to say that there's not a great deal of talent and so forth in the U.S., but we can't ignore the fact that a large amount of both economic contribution and brain power comes from us. So the memo itself directed that these heads of these agencies come up basically with a way to streamline the visa system for these employment-based visas, that there should be reforms and that there should be ideas and recommendations to improve the system. And they have 120 days to do it, which is not a lot to basically overhaul a system that has been ingrained in the immigration quota system for many, many years. So, you know, it's not just what President Obama was doing was not just saying, okay, let everybody in, and regardless of how it might hurt American workers, just fix it. No, he specifically directed to streamline and reform the immigration system with regards to the visa processing while safeguarding the interests of American workers. So, there, of course, is a balancing act that has to be done there. But as of right now, if a lot of these very talented people see that they're going to have to wait years to use their talents, they're not going to come to the United States. They'll go elsewhere. I mean, think about it. If you had an idea for real good business and you wanted to come to the U.S. and do it, you don't want to sit around and wait 2.5, 3, 4, 5 years to come and make it happen. By then, the whole world could change. Your ideas could change. Things could happen. So, that's why you want to capture and get these people that have these great ideas that will provide economic benefit for the U.S. that will not hurt American workers, but the reality is will create jobs. That's the reality. They will help the economy and so forth. And right now, there's no specifics on to do it. How they're going to overhaul the system. They have the direction and the order from the President of the United States to do it and to get it done by essentially the end of March, what they're going to do. And so I'll be very and come up with, hopefully, they'll issue, different kinds of temporary economic visas for work that will allow people who are very talented and entrepreneurs, investors, people have good ideas to come in temporarily for their work and to at least get here essentially right away to be able to start their ideas, get their businesses going, and then perhaps when they're here to be able to apply for residency, but to do it in such a manner that doesn't take years to do, and to do exactly as President Obama has requested, to streamline the processing so that not only will there be a flow of highly talented immigrants coming into the U.S., but the economics that they provide, the jobs that provide into the economy, all of that. So we'll wait and see. I will keep you updated as soon as I hear anything. I will put a video out on it, and then we'll go from there. Okay, if you like the video, click subscribe, and you can call obviously my office for a free consultation. Okay, more on the coming videos.